Today we're going to talk about Princess having their third ship arrive in Australia, and they are planning to keep 3 ships in that region for the foreseeable future. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what might affect cruise prices going up or not, like we talked about briefly yesterday. And then I'm going to talk to you about what some of the main things are that we should all be looking at and thinking about when we decide which ship we want to cruise on, and in the long run, what cruise line we are going to choose for different types of cruises. And I would really like to get your input on this and have a good discussion. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Wednesday, it's November 2nd of 2022, and I am really excited to let you know that today the Grand Princess arrived down in Australia. Now, the Princess is planning to keep 3 ships in that region, as I was saying. Right now, the Majestic Princess and the Coral Princess are already sailing down there, and like I said, the Grand Princess arrived there today. Now, during the time that she is in Australia for this season, she arrived in, Sydney, in Australia is where she went first. She is going to be doing different itineraries that go to Southern Australia, Queensland, New Zealand, and the South Pacific. And so I really like that they have a variety of places they're going to go. They are not just going to be doing like 7-day cruises to the exact same place the whole time. They are going to visit ports like Port Lincoln, Kangaroo Island, Brisbane, Newcastle, and Phillip Island, as well as Tauranga, Dunedin, Dunedin, Napier, Auckland, and more. I hope I said those okay. And then at the end of the season, this is so cool, they are going to have a 32-night sailing that goes from Sydney back to San Francisco. And along the way, they are going to visit 11 destinations in New Zealand, the South Pacific, and Hawaii. That sounds like a dream cruise to me right now. It's freezing cold outside. It's actually snowing where we live here today. And to think of cruising the South Pacific for 32 days just sounds like heaven. It's going to have to wait a little while until Gordon's retired and we're at a little bit different place there, but that is on my bucket list. And so if it is on your bucket list and you have time, you should take a look at those sailings because they sound absolutely wonderful. Yesterday, I talked to you for a minute about how the president of Royal Caribbean was talking in their earnings call about how he expects the price for cruises to go up. And so I've thought about that a lot, and I know that a couple of you said, well, we expect it to go down, and we are surely seeing some really low prices as the cruise lines try to fill up their cruises. I would say that Carnival's prices are the most notable because they have those, like, some of them are in the $20-something a day, so you can't beat that. But I saw this story on Cruise Industry News that says in the month of November, the cruise industry added 16,000 berths amongst the new cruise ships that came online. So we are all familiar with the Carnival Celebration coming online. We got a Let's Go family member. She is going over to hop on that inaugural transatlantic coming across. So Kathy's going to be doing that. So I'm really excited to hear how that goes. Then we've got the MSC Europa, the MSC Seascape, and that means, and also in addition to the new ships, it says that 85% of all of the cruise ships that all of the capacity that exists are now sailing, and the ones that are not are just in their normal seasonal layup. So there are no cruise ships that are not sailing right now that would normally be sailing. Everything that would be sailing at this time of the year is sailing. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how full these cruise ships are that sail. And let me tell you, like last week when we were on the Discovery Princess, she was very full. She is really full again this week. As I book cruises, I have noticed that they are much more full, just like in the last couple of months booking cruises for people. Cruise ships are much fuller as I try to look for the cabins that people would like and getting on the cruises they would like. Things seem much fuller than they used to be. So we'll see what prices do, but I thought you might find that interesting. Now, this is a little bit different. So this is kind of the whole big discussion about why you want to cruise on different cruise lines and how you really navigate choosing which cruise line is really best for you. And I have thought an awful lot about this. because this weekend we are going to go on 3 cruise lines that until I had started doing this, and I just love doing this with you all, YouTube and helping people with travel. I just loved cruising on Princess, and truly it was never on my horizon to try another cruise line. I just really enjoyed Princess. Gordon and I have had the best time. And if until I started doing this, I don't know that I would have ventured out. But this weekend, we're leaving tomorrow, but we'll be trying Celebrity and then Royal Caribbean and Norwegian. Never would I have done that. But as I have done so much research and looked at what's on their ships and looked what their, the different cruises that their fleets of these different cruise lines offer, there is so much value, all of you, in looking at different cruise lines. And so first of all, I wanted to let you know that Spectrum of the Seas is back sailings in Thailand. Now, a lot of people who live in Singapore like to go on these cruises, but I know that there's a lot of people from Europe and the United States that really like to go do these cruises as well. So I thought that Spectrum of the Seas is just an excellent example. Sailings that you can get that go to Thailand, because Thailand is so beautiful. Our son lived there for a couple of years, thoroughly enjoyed it. We were actually going to go back with him so he could show us around and everything. And then, when they had those riots a few years ago, that's right when we had plane tickets. And everybody that he knew that lived there said, no, don't come now, come another time. And with him, everything else in life, we just have not gotten there. So that is on our list. But that's a reason to me to try Royal Caribbean and go on Spectrum of the Seas. If the ship is going where you want to go, I say get on and go. The other itinerary that I thought was really interesting, I've been looking at Viking a lot. Gordon and I just booked a river cruise for next year, and I'll tell you about that another day. But Viking, I have been looking a lot at Viking. Now, Viking is more expensive, but like yesterday I was pricing out a cruise and they include airfare. So on the one that we were looking at. And so if you take the cost and then you take out the airfare, suddenly that cruise is a lot more affordable. So I want to tell you that as you're looking at it. But this year for 2023 and 2024, Viking has some really new places that they are going in Portugal, and they have one that is called Portugal's River of Gold, and it's a 10-day sailing that goes from Lisbon to Porto, and it just stops at all of these beautiful places. And so really cruising is a way to go not only to places that we have heard for like ever since, Love Boat, I've known about the Caribbean and the Mexican Riviera and things like that. And then not until much later did they go to Australia and Europe and that. But some of these places I never dreamed I would get to go. But when you look at going on a river cruise there, it opens up a world of possibilities. So that is another reason to take a look at these. And like I was saying, some of them, yes, are very expensive. Some of them, when you look at these river cruises, like I said, when they offer the free airfare, you take out how much you would be spending on airfare for you to get there. Suddenly, it's really very comparable to a lot of other 10-day cruises or 7-day cruises or 5-day cruises. So I wanted to let you know that. And so that brings us to really this discussion. Those are some examples. And also Celebrity has some sailings that go to Egypt and Israel, you guys, in March of 2024. One of our Let's Go family members booked it. And when she sent it to me to help her with it, I was like, I have been looking at that exact cruise. So if anybody in March of 2024 would want to go to Egypt and Israel on a Celebrity cruise, it's on, I think, the Infinity, let me know. And we'll think about doing a group on it. They've got 3 cruises in March of 2024, and that's all for that time period. If you think you're going to want to go there in April, you're not. So that's when Celebrity is offering those. So that is a really good option. And so anyway, that's a discussion. But the reason that I was thinking about this is a Let's Go family member sent me an email saying how they had been on the Regal Princess and they just barely got off at the end of October. They were over in the Mediterranean and they really enjoyed the ports that they visited, but they said they were not going to sail on Princess again. And this was their first Princess sailing. And the reason is they felt like there wasn't enough entertainment. And so I have a couple of things to say about that. But they said that every time they were like in a location and some live musicians came and played, they played there for about 45 minutes and then they would move to another venue. So if you wanted to hear the live music, then you would have to move to that venue as well. And so they just kind of thought that the entertainment that had been offered on that cruise was really not where they wanted to be. And honestly, it sounds like, just based on what they said, that they had a lot less live entertainment than I just had last week on the Discovery Princess. That they did a really good job last week with live entertainment on the Discovery Princess. So I would say if you have just cruised with Princess like one time somewhere, I would say if you really enjoyed the rest of the cruise experience, I would give it another try and maybe do a little bit of research if you can into which different itineraries have a little bit more entertainment. I did notice that the cruises that we have been on to Alaska and to the Mexican Riviera and even the Caribbean last year when it was in the middle of Omicron had more entertainment than a lot of the times, the variety than they did like when we were on the Regal Princess this summer in the Mediterranean. And I don't know how, I guess maybe that's a regional thing. But so it really got me thinking when they were talking about how that was a deal breaker for them. And I totally respect that, very much respect that. So I started thinking about the things that really determine what you enjoy when you go on a cruise. And so I want to hear from you all, like, what are your top 3 things that you think about when you think about which cruise line you want to sail where, or what things, that you think about when you think, do I want to try that cruise line or not? And so first of all, I always think of cost. I'll just throw cost out there because you have to be able to afford it to go. I don't think that it's good to go into debt to go on a cruise. I think that if you want to book something far out, if you need a budget for it so that by the time it's time to go, you've paid for it and you're ready to go, that's great. But I don't think that you should spend money that you don't have. And so cost is very important. The other thing that you all know, I just love to go for itineraries. I thoroughly enjoy the experience on the ship. That is much more what it was last week for me on the Discovery Princess. I didn't particularly want to go to Mexico again, but I really wanted to go on the Love Boat cruise, and it was worth it. And so, but most of the time I choose an itinerary. So enjoying being on the ship is enough to get on a ship, which I know Code 4 for Life, if you haven't seen them. And I think Jeffrey, our Cruising for One Let's Go family member, he has a blog, so look that up in a YouTube channel now. But he likes to go places where it's always warm. And so he's not going to want to choose a cruise where it's cold. Code 4 for Life, I know that they love to get on the ship, thoroughly enjoy it. They don't care where they're going. Like, I love that approach. So but usually I really like to go where I'm going to go. So I think itinerary is usually really important. And another thing that I think is so important is your experience on the ship. And that can include like the size of the ship, like how many passengers will be on board, which in a way kind of does govern a little bit of your experience. Even if you're in an area like on Celebrity, it would be like the Retreat or different areas of the ship that we're used to having, just set aside for certain people. I still think that if you go out of that area, how busy it is will be determined by how many people there are on the ship. So you think of the size and then also what the ship has to offer. Like, what pools does it have? If you're traveling with teenagers or children that, that are going to want to do a lot of activities, does it have like the wave pool and the water slide or the whatever it is that they will enjoy the most? It kind of depends on the people that you're going to be going with. So I think that is a really big deal in the venues that they've got. Like, this is really funny, but one of the things I'm so excited to see on Explorer of the Seas is this ice skating rink. I've seen lots of ice skating rinks, but I'm so excited to go see it on a cruise ship and go to the show that they've got with that. But there's that. And then also, I think that often people think of entertainment, and that is where it can really vary a lot on different cruise ships, and it can even vary from night to night. And so, but you really kind of have to choose what in the long run will have more of what you enjoy. And then food. So some people, food is like way up here, and some people, food is here. And I would say that, of course, I really like good food. I like superb food, but at the same time, I like regular food too. And so the food would kind of have to be really bad for me to not want to go on a cruise somewhere. But those are all of the kind of things that I could think of that really make a big difference when I'm thinking about which cruise line I want to choose. Now, the cruise like that I mentioned with Celebrity, that's an 11-night cruise, and they spend 3 days in, it's round trip out of Athens. You've got 3 days in Jerusalem, and then 2 or 3 days in Alexandria, Egypt. So it gives you time to go see everything. And then you end up stopping, I think it's in Ephesus. And then at the end, you get to have an overnight in Athens. So you get there and you can spend the whole day and then the evening seeing everything without having to pay for another hotel. Just get back on the ship and enjoy everything. And then you get off the next day. So things like that would be enough to make me want to go on Celebrity because of that. And compared to a lot of like the smaller, more luxury cruise lines, it's much more affordable. So I'm just putting this out here. And like I said, I really want to hear from all of you about what you're thinking about when you choose which cruise line you're going to go on and kind of what you're going to be doing. And I really appreciate you all taking the time to put a comment down below because I love it when we have discussions and I always learn a lot from you all as well. Now, tomorrow I am really excited. I get to go to a meeting with Princess. Next week, they are releasing some cruises. I'm not sure what all they're releasing, but I'll let you know when I know. I think on the 8th is the day that they are going to be released for elites to book, and then the 9th for everyone. I'll confirm that tomorrow, though. That is just what I don't even know that because I'm a travel agent. I just know that from what I have read. And so I just wanted to bring you all up to date on that. If you're waiting for a cruise and you're waiting for something with Princess, it sounds like some exciting announcements are coming out. So if you've got questions on that, just tuck those down below as well. I really appreciate all of you. If you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. We'd love to have you with us. And if you enjoy these updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up? I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.